Did you find out about the trade via social media, or were you actually told by someone in the front office?
No, I found out before.
Okay.
I kind of knew, Adam Peters, the new GM in Washington, he was great to me throughout the whole process. And, I'm super thankful for him just for, how good of a communicator he was throughout the whole thing. And, him and Coach Dan Quinn called me and kind of let me know the news before it all got out. But, yeah, just thankful. I think everything throughout my whole trade process was just done the right way on both sides. So I'm definitely thankful for that.
How about that? Sam Howell is now on the Seahawks as the backup quarterback to Geno Smith. This is Sports Guy Talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am joined by Coach Duke Howell today to talk about what Mike Macdonald isn't telling us about Sam Howell. For the people wondering who Coach Duke Howell is, he is Sam Howell's dad, as he is also a high school football head coach. Remember, the Seahawks gave up 2 draft picks to acquire Sam Howell via trade. Before I say anything else, though, I want to present you guys with the topic question. So, here it is. Will Sam Howell become a successful quarterback on the Seahawks?
I believe, Dustin, I believe he will. Given the opportunity, I believe Sam done some stuff at Washington that shows he has potential to be a starter in this league and can play in this league a long time. Obviously in Seattle, he goes in there as the number 2 behind Geno. The NFL is based on guys trying to be self-made when they get an opportunity, and Sam now is just looking for an opportunity to show he can play.
Agreed, Coach. Sam Howell could definitely play at a high level if he is given the opportunity to do so. You know why I know that? Because I saw he did that in stretches for the Commanders last year, despite being on the worst offensive line in the NFL. The O-line really didn't give Sam Howell any time to throw the football whatsoever. The offensive coordinator for the Commanders last year really didn't do a good job helping out Sam Howell in terms of dealing with pressure. There were some good things about Eric Bieniemy, but there were also some not so good things about Eric Bieniemy. Obviously, Sam Howell, he's got to work with Coach Grubb on the Seattle Seahawks. Coach Grubb is the offensive coordinator of the Seahawks, for the people that don't know who he is. What do you think is the biggest difference from Ryan Grubb compared to Eric Bieniemy?
Well, the biggest difference I would say is, Ryan Grubb's coming from the University of Washington. He's a college-based offense. A lot of similarities in the pro game, I'm sure. Bieniemy was a first-year coordinator, first-year calling plays. He was a coordinator at Kansas City. And so I think their styles are a little different. We yet to be seeing how much run pass Coach Grubb's going to be in Seattle. We know in Washington we were a heavy passing team.
Well, I'll say this about Sam Howell. I've done my own evaluations of Sam Howell. I've scouted the guy for quite a while. I've always felt like Sam Howell is at his best when the offense is playing 50-50 run-pass ratio. I feel like that's the kind of quarterback Sam Howell is. And I feel like Sam Howell is at his best when the team can run the football effectively and he can work off play action and RPO game. Obviously, though, he's got to also form a relationship with Mike Macdonald at the head coach position. What do you think is the difference between Coach Macdonald and Coach Rivera?
Well, Coach Rivera is an established head coach in the league. When Sam got there, Coach Rivera had already been at a couple stops, been around a long time. You look at Coach Macdonald, it's the first year. We'll see how it goes. Everything I see and hear, he's doing a great job. Worked his way up through the ranks, had an outstanding defense in Baltimore, and, he's earned his opportunity to be a head coach in the league.
Agreed. I've been raving about the Mike Macdonald hiring to a lot of my buddies. I've been saying that the Seahawks made an absolute home run of a hire in Mike Macdonald. This was before I even knew his opinion about Sam Howell. I think the reason why he loves Sam Howell so well is because of that preseason game that he had against the Baltimore Ravens, where Sam Howell cooked the Ravens defense and Mike Macdonald was the defensive coordinator. So I think that's also another reason why Mike Macdonald is really high on Sam Howell. I've heard some rumors that Sam Howell is pushing Geno Smith to be the QB1 in Seattle. Do you think Sam Howell could eventually win the starting job on the Seattle Seahawks? And if he does, how well do you think he's going to play for them?
Sam will be ready to play when his time comes, when and if it's in Seattle. He'll prepare like he's a starter. They have a really good quarterback room, not only with Geno Smith, they brought P.J. Walker in. Sam's worked out with PJ for years, and Geno's just a big help for Sam since he's been in Seattle. You know, you got to remember Sam is still 23 years old, even though he has 18 starts. And it's nice to have Geno in the room, a seasoned veteran, to keep Sam in a position where he keeps progressing. So I think given an opportunity in Seattle, he's going to do very well and he'll excel there.
I agree. I think Sam Howell is set up for success. On the Seahawks, they got a good running game in Kenneth Walker. They've got the receivers in there. They've got DK Metcalf. They've got Tyler Lockett. They've got Jaxon, Smith-Njigba. They've got Noah Fant. The offensive line is above average. You look at how Charles Cross is an underrated left tackle. I got to also ask you this as well, Coach. Who do you think Sam Howell reminds you of player comp-wise?
In today's game, I think he's very similar. Obviously, he's shorter, but he's very similar to Josh Allen. They both are very strong runners, hard to bring down, and both have very big arms that can make all the throws on the field.
I find it interesting that you compare Sam Howell to Josh Allen. I definitely don't hate the comparison. I see some similarities between the two guys' game. For me personally, when I watch Sam Howell play, he reminds me a lot of baby Brett Favre in the sense that he's going to gunsling the football all over the lot, and if he sees a little bit of a window, he's going to gunsling that football into that window, and he really believes that his receivers can win their one-on-one matchups. That's the kind of quarterback Sam Howell is. Obviously, though, if Sam Howell doesn't really progress out in Seattle, which, by the way, we hope will not happen at all, but if he doesn't, worst case scenario, do you think Sam Howell's floor is going to be a 10 to 15 year veteran backup?
I would believe that's the floor. I believe he can play in the league as long as he feels like he's healthy and can continue to play. You know, you look at this year's draft, there's majority of these guys came out of high school the same year Sam did or the year before. He's already been in the league 2 years, you know, compared to, say, Bo Nix that came out at the same time. Bo has a lot of college experience, but Sam has 2 years NFL experience at the same age, you know, so I think as long as he keeps working, which he will, and he can stay healthy, he has a chance to play a long time.
I definitely agree with that. I think Sam Howell has a Ryan Fitzpatrick kind of floor where if he just never improves his game whatsoever, he's definitely going to find jobs somewhere in the NFL. The guy is a highly capable player, but I really think Sam Howell is a lot better than that. And I know he's a lot better than that because he has the guts, he has the moxie, he has the toughness. He also has a little bit of Tony Romo in him in terms of his escapability and his ability to throw the ball in tight coverages. Do you think the Commanders gave up on Sam Howell too quickly?
Well, I would like to say yes, but, you know, given the situation in Washington with new ownership, new GM, new coach, new staff, and you have the number 2 pick, it was understandable they wanted to go brand new, fresh, and start over with Jaden Daniels. You can look at the first 10 games in Washington. They're advertising he's the future. The season ticket holders are going to build around him, and then, you know, back 6 games, 7 games didn't go well, and, you know, that's the NFL. I do think that he could have been successful in Washington.
I definitely agree with that. I thought the Commanders gave up on Sam Howell way too quickly. I felt like he was scapegoated for the struggles of the Commanders last year. And I know Sam Howell can be a franchise quarterback at the NFL level because I saw stretches of games where he looked really good. You look at where he threw for 397 yards against the Philadelphia Eagles. A better defense probably gets him a victory in that game. And you also look at how Sam Howell balled out against the Seahawks in a hostile environment, especially late in that fourth quarter. He throws that game-tying touchdown to Bieniemy Brown. That was really impressive stuff that I saw from Sam Howell. I mean, he has a lot of intangibles that you can't teach. How quick do you see Sam Howell getting the job in Seattle if he gets it at all? Do you think he gets playing time this year?
Everything in Seattle is going to be dictated on Geno, how well Geno performs, and if he stays healthy. You know, going in, Geno's under contract. Last year of his contract, he's been named the starter going in. Coach Macdonald has named Geno, and, you know, Sam's job's just to be ready if something happens to Geno, if they won't make a move. Really, his time frame's based on how things go with Geno Smith.
I definitely think that Geno Smith is going to basically dictate how much time Sam Howell is going to get. I think Sam Howell is going to play by late October, whether it's due to injury or whether it's a coaching change. They gave up 2 draft picks to get Sam Howell. That tells me they're going to try to get this guy on the football field sooner rather than later. We all know that Coach Macdonald, he really loves Sam Howell out there. You've been seeing how he's been raving about Sam Howell in his pressers, and he was the guy that pushed the Seahawks to trade for Sam Howell. And obviously, they gave Mike Macdonald a 6-year contract, so I would assume he would have a lot of say in how the Seahawks get to build the roster, which tells me that Sam Howell is going to see the field sooner rather than later. How do you see Sam Howell playing out his career on the Seahawks if he gets the starting job?
He's going to do everything he can to be successful in Seattle. He's got 2 years left on his contract in Seattle, so they'll have any time between now and 2 years to make a decision on what route they want to go on with Sam. They want to re-sign Sam or, he's off to somewhere else. This early in his career, it's too hard to predict if he's going to be in Seattle next year, 2 years, or 10 years. He likes it there. They got great culture, loves the city. He's getting used to the Pacific Northwest, but in this league, you don't get to really pick where you go.
The biggest thing for Sam Howell in terms of the transition is the fact that he's going to be on the West Coast. He's a Carolina-born guy. He's lived in the Carolinas almost his entire life, and when he wasn't living in the Carolinas, he was living in Virginia, which really isn't all that different from North Carolina. What do you think is the biggest difference, though, from the Seahawks compared to the Commanders?
Biggest difference right now is the location. You went from Washington, D.C. to Washington State. He could get home about an hour and a half flight from D.C. home. Now, it's 6.5 hours to get back to Charlotte. If you're talking about differences in the programs, it was a tough situation in Washington. A lot of people suspected win or done for Ron Rivera. So there was going to be a change in the guard. They just sold the franchise. So you knew changes were coming. Sam's going into Seattle where the changes are taking place when he's getting there, and he's part of the new change, new head coach, new offensive coordinator, so there's a lot of excitement around the program right now, and which I'm sure there is in Washington as well, but it's just as different that Sam's on the front end of it coming here to Seattle.
As a Panthers fan, I got to say that I have a lot of love towards Ron Rivera. You look at how Ron Rivera, he made the Panthers franchise pretty relevant, so I got to give Ron Rivera some props. Final question for you, though. What do you think is Mike Macdonald's biggest secret about Sam Howell? What do you think he's not telling us about him right now?
Well, I think he got a chance last preseason to evaluate Sam. Not only the preseason game, Washington and Baltimore practiced together the week of the game. So they were joint practices, and obviously coach was running the defense for Baltimore, working with the offense of Washington. So he got to evaluate Sam even more closely than people know. It wasn't just a preseason game. He got to see him operate in practice for a few days.
Agreed. I think that the relationship between Sam Howell and Mike Macdonald is extremely underrated. For me personally, I think that Mike Macdonald isn't telling people that Sam Howell has a far bigger chance to get out there on the football field than what many people are expecting. I think most casual fans, they're thinking, okay, the Seahawks, they just traded for Geno Smith's backup, and that's just insurance policy in case Geno Smith gets hurt. But I think there's a lot more to the story than what's getting reported. All right, well, thanks for being on the show, Coach Duke Howell. Appreciate you coming on here. All right, make sure you follow his Instagram at Coach_Duke Howell. He also has a Twitter account. It's at DukeHWT. Make sure you guys also follow that account as well. Again, Coach, thanks for being on the show.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Dustin.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All right, see you, Coach.
Take it easy.
Yup, bye. That was Coach Duke Howell that you guys just heard. Obviously, he gave a little bit of insight as to how Sam Howell is going to be doing on the Seahawks and how the Seahawks feel about Sam Howell. Obviously, I've got strong feelings towards Sam Howell as well. You guys know that I've always been a huge fan of Sam Howell, and he's going to have an opportunity to play some high-level football for the Seahawks, which I believe he can do. So that is why Sam Howell will become a successful quarterback for the Seahawks, as he will be able to make the Commanders regret getting rid of him in the first place. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That will be for the @DustinNasTran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @DustinNasTran and at Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @DustinNasTran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video. Comment down below. Check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel Sports Guy Talking.